In today's video, we're exploring the strategy of a challenger player from the Philippines who has been consistently climbing the ladder with Vanguard Hwei. This player has been one-tricking this comp in 90% of his games, achieving an impressive 65% top 4 rate and a 25% win rate over 60 games. We're going to break down how to play this composition effectively at each stage of the game, and then go through a game I played myself in Masters to break down the key decisions that are made. Let's get into it. Starting with an overview of the composition, this is a 3-cost reroll comp that looks to 3-star Hwei as your main damage carry and 3-star Mordekaiser as your main tank. As it is a 3-cost reroll comp, you will spend most of your time at level 7 slow rolling for both 3-star Hwei and Mord, while slotting in 4 Vanguard and 3 Frost for survivability. The main damage source will of course be coming from Hwei, but you can also itemize Bard as a duo carry for any additional damage items you get in the later stages of the game. Once you 3-star both Mord and Hwei, you then look to level up to slot in Arcana for extra damage using either Xerath or Ahri, and swapping the items over from Bard. Augments you should be looking out for are any combat or reroll related, ideally 2 combat and 1 reroll to not end up with a 3-star board that loses out to triple combat augment boards. Tier 1 options that are good here are Silver Ticket for rerolling, Unified Resistance to add extra tankiness to your Vanguard units, and then Band of Thieves as just a solid tier 1 augment. For tier 2 you have some of the best options for this comp, with Spellblades and Combat Casters being the standout combat augments, and then Heroic Grab Bag as a great reroll augment to finish off 3-starring Hwei or Mord. For tier 3 you want to look out for any of the generic S tier augments such as Support Golem, Immovable Object and I'm the Carry Now. These fit into any comp because they're just very strong right now and should be a must pick for most comps. Itemization should of course be focused on Hwei and Mord, and you can be very flexible with what you build on each of them. For Hwei, he needs at least 1 mana generation item such as Blue Buff or Shojin, but then he can build any other strong caster items such as Nashers, JG, Deathcap, or even Red Buff. Try not to be too picky and hold out for best in slot items, and instead play around what components you get given and slam what you can. For Mord, it's a similar story. Build any tank items you can such as Gargoyles, Dragon's Claw and Bramble, but make sure you have at least 1 MR shred item such as Ionic Spark, else Hwei won't be able to burst down the enemy's front line. Before we get into how to play this at each stage of the game, if you do find these guides helpful, then please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as I try to put out one of these types of guides at least twice a month, and your support helps make that happen. So with that out of the way, for the early game, you want to build the strongest board you can that ideally utilizes an AP item holder. One of the strongest of this is Portal with Zoe as your item holder, and putting in either Shapeshifters or Vanguards for your front line. Try to be flexible as possible and play around whatever you can 2-star so that you can preserve as much health as possible. If you're unsure on what the strongest boards are, Meta TFT has a cool section in their app which shows the strongest boards at each stage, along with their round win rates. So if you're interested in seeing that, I'll leave a description in the link below for you to check it out. You should be leveling up to 4 at 2-1, 5 at 2-5 and 6 at 3-2, whilst collecting any units from the final board as you go along, as well as any of the low-cost Vanguard units to use until you find Tahm Kench later on. If you've been losing a lot of health or have a few unit pairs once you hit 6, then you roll a couple of times to stabilise at this point. If not, just econ to level 7 and start slow rolling for Hwei and Mord. Depending on the units you 2-star first, your board should look something like these whilst you're slow rolling, and you should be either winning most rounds or at least only losing by a couple of rounds. Going into the late game, the key to being successful with this comp is knowing when to stop slow rolling and instead going all in to look at 3-starring your units. This will come with practice, as there are many different scenarios that will change when you should do this, but a general rule you can use is to go all in when you have 6 or more copies of the unit you want, or you have about 2 lives left before you're about to die. You should be level 8 once you have hit your 3-star units, and then slot in ideally Xerath if you can find him, or Ahri if not, making sure to activate Arcana on either one of them. It's at this point you want to roll each round for a combat charm, whilst econing back up to go to level 9, but in the majority of games it will be over before you can actually make it there. So now that we've gone through how to play the comp, we're going to review a game I played earlier and break down the decisions I make at each stage of the game. Okay, so starting out on 1-4, just before we find our first augment, we've got what looks like a Vanguard Hunter start. We do have a Zoe in the shop, so we could look at going Portal. However, the Cogmore is a really good item holder early on for Hwei. He's not an AP item holder, but he does hold caster items really well, and we've just got a BF sword off that as well. So we can slam Shojin on Hog, and he can carry us through the early game. The augment selections aren't great for this comp, but all of them are okay, to be honest. The Overencumbered is probably the best out of all of these. Triforce would be quite good, but we only play a couple of 3 stars. And Overencumbered will give us a lot of items, which would be really beneficial. So here we can now only play with 1 bench slot, which is great for us. We've got all of the units we need, and we can hold this Galio pair just in case we find an early 2-star Galio, which will pretty much carry us through the early game. So we're doing a lot of scouting here, seeing what people are playing. This guy is worrying us as he's got a Rumble and a Hwei, so he's got Vanguards and the unit that we want to play. So we're going to do a lot of scouting this game to check to see if anyone's contesting us, and spoiler, there is. This player also, he's got 2 Frost units on the board, but it looks like he's just playing whatever 2 stars he found rather than actually playing Frost. But he did slam an adaptive on Jax, which is an item that you can play with Hwei, but it's usually played with Ari at the minute, so we'll be keeping an eye on him along with the other guy who's found a Hwei early on. And yeah, we're just gonna pretty much nothing we can do now until stage 3, because we took over encumbered. We can't buy any champions, as you can see, so it's really just a case of playing with what we've got, maybe get a lucky 2-star in Galio, but apart from that there's really not much we can do. So we keep scouting now, double checking what everyone's playing. He's now putting Frost with that adaptive. The guy who bought the Hwei or found the Hwei early has sold it, so that's a good sign for us. He's not playing Hwei, or if he is, he's just sold it to make Econ. So we're in a good spot in terms of the lobby. Doesn't seem like they're leaning towards that. If we are contested, depending on how many copies of Hwei they find versus we find, we can skip rolling at level 7 and instead go to level 8 and play something like 7 Frost with Varus as a carry instead. But ideally we find the most units and we stay level 7 to slow roll. So skipping ahead to stage 3 now, we got dropped quite a few items, so we can slam Nash's Tooth. And we have a lot of chains. We also can slam Ionic Spark, so we've got our MR Shred. We've also found a Mordekaiser, so we now have one of our core units, so we can start putting tank items on him. Bramble isn't the best tank item at the minute, but because we have so many chains, it's worth just slamming it to preserve health. Do another quick scout. That guy that was playing Frost is now playing Ari, so right now I haven't noticed anyone looking like they're going to contest us, but there is actually someone that I'm probably maybe one-tricking as well, because from the scouting that I've done at this time, it doesn't look like anyone should be playing it, just like us really. Well, if you looked at our items, you could probably guess with the Frost and the Vanguards. So with the augments, we take a look. Again, none of these are amazing for our team, but they're tier 1, so not too bad. Combat bandage is pretty good, and we naturally find a Hwei from the shop. So this is a big increase in our board strength. Doesn't seem like it, just 1 Hwei, but it activates Frost, and we make 40 gold here as well. So now I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. We just need to find 2 more Hweis, and then we're in a pretty good spot to start slow rolling. And then start scouting this guy who's 56 health already on stage 3 too, and he does look like he's playing something similar to us. He's got a blue buff slammed, he's got a Morello slammed, and he has a 2-star Rumble. So although right now he's just playing some Honeymancy Vanguard comp, it does seem like he may look to contest us if and when he finds a Hwei. So just coming off the carousel, we get a charm to buy a champion duplicator for 5 gold. Normally I wouldn't take it, but because we are playing a 3-cost reroll comp, this is 5 gold to duplicate a 3-cost champion is definitely worth it, especially when we're trying a 3-star one. So that will come in handy later on when we're rolling down for Maud and Hwei. So if you see that in the shop, I'd definitely look at buying it. So we also picked up a rod off the carousel. We're now stuck with a bow and chain on the board, on the bench, sorry, and this really isn't a great combination. We don't really want to build a Titans. We will if we have to. We can maybe possibly build a red buff or a Sunfire cape, but again, these aren't the best items. But as our board is still pretty strong, we're winning some rounds, we're losing some rounds. The rounds we are losing aren't losing a huge amount, so happy to keep them on the bench for now. But if we start losing more rounds, we would definitely look at slamming an item, even if it has to be Titans. So find a second Hwei naturally in the shop, so that's really good for us. It's 3-6 now. Ideally we want to have 2-star Hwei going into stage 4. So once we get to level 7, we will roll down slightly past the 50 gold, probably maybe to 30 gold, to try and 2-star some units to stabilize our board, because after stage 4 is where other 4-cost boards come online. And this is where we look at this guy. He's 40 health, he's got a 2-star rumble and a Hwei in the back, but like I say, he is quite a bit lower health than us, nearly 30 health, so I'm happy to contest him. If he was higher health and win streaking or had a lot of gold, I'd maybe look at skipping level 7 and going straight to level 8 once we hit 2-star Hwei. But because he is low health, I'm counting on him taking a lot more damage, because there's a period at this point, like stage 3, where you take quite a bit of damage because you're just econing to get to 7 to level, and he just took a lot of damage there. He's down to 30 health already at stage 3-7, so I'm not too worried about him. Keep looking at him. He doesn't have another Hwei, so he's only got one. It looks like he's hard forcing it from a position where he didn't build the strongest board that he could. Like, he played some Itemisation variants. Again, I'd only play that if I managed to 2-star a couple of them. If not, I'd just go on a lose streak. And here we get, you could consider lucky. Off the neutrals, we got another Hwei, so we now have Hwei 2. And we can level up. And now there's nothing really to put in without breaking econ. So we roll down a little bit to try and hit some of the 2-stars and stabilize, and that will do it there. So now we have 4 Vanguard. We don't have anything else to put in. We haven't found a Bard or a Zillion. So we'll put in Jinx for now until we find something better. But this Jinx is definitely a temporary. She's not really adding too much. We didn't manage to find a JG, which is a really good item on Hwei, but we did manage to find another rod, so we can build Death Cap. And now we're in this is the kind of spot that you want to be in going into stage 4. You have 2-star Hwei and a 2-star Mordekaiser, and maybe one or two 2-star units in the front line, and we've got Galio. So we're not massively strong, but after the 4-2 augment, which we're about to go into, a lot of boards are going to come online. There's a lot of Rise boards at the minute, so they'll be playing that. And for the last augment, we get could possibly go new recruit here and get the champion duplicator, but I'm kind of happy with our board. I'd take new recruit if we really needed to hit Hwei very soon, because then we have 2 duplicators. But these golems are so strong at the minute. The support golem is strong, and the I'm the carry now. And as you saw, the support golem is slightly stronger. We get the Banshee's Veil and Aegis, so Aegis is really good for us. Banshee's Veil, that combo is a bit annoying because I'd rather have that Banshee's Veil on the back line, but I want to get the Aegis value here, so we'll put it on the front line, which gives our front line a bit of attack speed, which again is a bit of a waste, but yeah, so we go up against our nemesis in this game. He has a 2-star Hwei with blue buff and a radiant death cap, but his front line is pretty weak, and because we have a support golem, we're buffing our entire team, so we pretty much just one-shot his backline there. So that's pretty good. And our Twitch managed to pop in that corner there. So great positioning there for Twitch, because Hwei on his third cast hits the lowest percent health enemies. So if Twitch can manage to hit the backline there and lower the health of the backline units, then that means that Hwei's third cast is going to hit them. So there is another Frost in this shop. So you could play something like 5 Frost and 2 Vanguard, or possibly even 7 Frost, but I definitely prefer this version of the comp. If you do play a certain region portal like Loot Subscription, or the one that gives you a spatula, and you can build a Frost emblem, then you could definitely go 7 Frost. Still very similar to this. You can play 4 Vanguard with 7 Frost, and it is very strong. Or you can play the Varus version. So going into the stage 4 carousel, the guy who was contesting us, actually FF, he surrendered because his board was terrible. I'm not sure why he got to that point, but yeah, so we're now free, uncontested in this game. It's halfway through stage 4. Managed to pick up this Mordekaiser with a tier, so we can look at slow rolling now without worrying too much about people holding Hwei. There's one other player playing Mordekaiser as well, but so there's only, I think, 3 out of the pool at this point. And with Rumble now back in the pool, because that guy was holding a lot of them, Rumble was a really important Vanguard to get because it's also a blaster, so now that's also activated blaster. And we're sitting on 4 Frost now, but we don't want that. We'd rather get a Preserver in, so we want to get rid of this Twitch as soon as possible and put in Bard, because Bard is going to activate Preserver, which is going to keep our team healthy. And that's the level board that you want at level 7. So this is pretty much our ideal board for level 7, apart from instead of Twitch you want Bard. And we've built a red buff. Rumble does provide anti-heal, but it is quite unreliable. It doesn't hit the backline. It does have a bit of AoE, but again, still I'd rather build some more reliable anti-heal than Rumble, and Rumble dies very quickly as well. So here we put Xerath in our team planner, and that is a really important part to get in first and second place. You're really only going to get first and second place if you get to level 8 and put in Arcana. If you're just fighting for top 4, then you'll most likely stay level 7. But if you can get to level 8 and put in either Ahri or Xerath, then you're going to be in a really good spot. So we're 3 away from Hwei now, and we're 3 away from Mordekaiser. And after stage 4 going into stage 5 is where you'll most likely start to see you losing rounds. And also, Portal is one of the worst matchups for this comp, because Portal spawns those little Krugs, which tank a lot of Hwei's ults. So you'll see there that Hwei's ult hit a few of those Krugs. So it does kind of counter this comp, but it can win out if you manage to hit everything. So here we're thinking about going all in around stage 5-1, because we're now 1 off Hwei and we're 3 off Mord. So we could use our champion duplicator now, but I'd rather roll down a little bit to try and hit Mord 3 and Hwei 3, because really you need both in order to get those top placements of like 1, 2, 3. You can still get a top 4 with just 3-starring Hwei, but I don't want to just top 4. I feel like I'm in a good position to try and contest for first or second place. So we get a bunch of stuff here, we pick our charm, we start selling some of the board, and we roll down. So now we're going to roll down past 50 gold, looking for Hwei 3. We find some of our other low cost units, get to 30 gold, and just after rolling through we managed to hit Hwei, so I decided to roll because we need one more Mord. We find it. This is great as it means we get to keep 10 gold, which is a bit of interest. Not a lot, but it's better than nothing. And now our board is pretty much complete. I'm kind of happy that this is pretty much a guaranteed top 4, unless the lobby is very, very strong. Here we're playing against an RA3 board, and we clear it pretty much very easily. And now it's just a case of econing back up to go to level 8, whilst picking as many combat charms as we can. So we put in Xerath over Bard here. So instead of Preserver, we have Arcana. And Xerath's Arcana activation means we get a % extra damage based on how many charms we've bought, which again is why buying charms is very important. I'm not sure if it was the correct play to do that, because Preserver is very good in this comp as well. But I think I'd rather have the extra damage. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, to be honest. And here we go against a really low costed board. Don't know why I'm lagging a bit here. That was weird. He's 1-star everything, but he does have a lot of 5-cost units, so I'm not sure what he's doing there. So now we could roll twice to find a charm, but he'd be at 1 gold. There are some 1 gold combat charms, but not worth it. Not worth spending 4 gold to buy a 1 gold charm. And now we go against another Portal board. Portal's really popular at the minute, and again, like I say, it does kind of counter our comp with these crooks that keep spawning. So anytime we do play against Portal, it is very close. Managed to just win out here, and that's against the Ghost. So I'm not too confident that we're going to be first place this game, just because if we only just beat the Ghost player, when we actually go to play him properly, I don't think we're going to win. So we have a Sunder here. We managed to find a Xerath charm. When you have Xerath in, it gives you extra more powerful charms, but nothing that we need. And now looks like we're going against this guy who's 3 health, and I'm not worried about him. He's playing some sort of Pyro board, but it doesn't look very upgraded. He's got a 2-star Nasus and a 2-star Varus, but he's playing this Gwen for some reason with an Arcana charm, emblem, sorry. I'm guessing he just played that to deny others. So yeah, it's kind of close, but not really. We managed to take him out. So going into stage 6 now, just off the neutrals, we take a look and we get a Protector's Vow, and it's not the best, but again, we don't really have anything else there to get. There's no mana generation item. So decided to get a Reforger here, and Reforge Red Buff and Protector's Vow, and it was a stupid idea to do that, because Titans and IE are like the worst items that we could have found at this point. And yeah, we're now top 4, but we want a higher placement, and I'm pretty confident it's a top 2, because there's a 3 health player and a 14 health player. And I'm hoping we get 2nd place, as they would knock each other out. We get very unlucky here. It looks like his Mordekaiser's about all, but then he doesn't. So we just lose that. That would have been huge for us if we won that. And these last few fights are very frustrating. And you'll see why you're still around to watch this. We kind of get screwed over by the Ghost. So there's 4 players left now, but once the 5th player, once the 4th player leaves, sorry, and it's just between 3, we get very unlucky with the matchups. So normally at this point, because we have 45 health, it's pretty much a guaranteed top 2, unless things work out really unfavorable. This guy's got an upgraded this guy's got an upgraded Smolder. He's got an upgraded, who's that, Briar. He's got an upgraded Briar. My mind is just frazzled today. So yeah, we get rolled big time. I want to say it's close, but it really wasn't. I feel like if we positioned a bit different, then maybe we could just about win out. But now it's between 3, so we just played one guy, so it's between that upgraded Briar and Smolder Blaster comp and the Portal comp. So I'm looking at both comps, and to be honest, I don't think I can beat either of them. They're both fully upgraded, level 9. In an ideal situation, I would be level 9 right now, but we were slightly contested at the beginning of the game, so I'm happy to take a top 2, but we don't get a ghost here, so we're hoping next round we go against a ghost and one of them knock each other out, but Riot decides to screw me over and it doesn't work out like that. But these fights are so close. We just nearly win that, so we're only taking a bit of damage here. So 15 health, that guy's on 3, that guy's on 14. And onto the, I want to say final carousel, maybe. And really there isn't much for us, so we're going to look at taking the Rage Blade to put on Xerath, to hopefully get him to cast a bit quicker, or if at all. And like I say, I don't think we're beating any of these comps, but because I just fought this guy, I'm pretty sure we're going to go against a ghost, which we're more likely to win. And yeah, I find this charm in a second, which I see that charm, which is a good combat charm. Just decide to buy here, and we stick in this Rage Blade with an Infinity Edge. Again, definitely not the best here. And I decided to give everybody Aegis, because at this point I know the chance of me winning is pretty low, but I just want to conserve as much HP as possible. And here we have Smolder on the back line, and our Hwei manages to switch to it, so we actually managed to kill the Smolder quite quickly, but we just can't burst through the Briar. Our anti-heal is now gone because Rumble's dead, and he goes down to like 1 health, and again we just get so close in all of these fights. So just a bit of extra damage, a bit of extra tankiness could probably save us here. And although we didn't go against the ghost, that other guy lost to this ghost. So although we got unlucky with that, we still managed to get a top 2. And yeah, this charm is what confused me, because I thought 1 star up. I actually thought that meant 1 cost star up. So I thought this would give everybody a shield, and then it would star up Warwick. But it was 1 star. So I don't know why that charm's in the game. I don't know why you'd have any 1-star units at this late in the game with Xerath on the board, but if anybody knows what that charm does, then let me know in the comments. And yeah, that is the end. I hope you enjoyed the guide, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.